That night was tough, longer than she expected. She silently broke Taehyung's embrace and sat on the bed. As a med student, it was clear to her probably what she was suffering from. She knew she was overthinking. She knew it was just their first attempt, and it couldn't be decided that she was having issues like. But that wasn't the problem. Vaginismus is curable, but for her condition, the one would also be suffering was Taehyung. The room was dark. She knew that in the dark room only her tears would be invisible, but still she couldn't allow herself to cry her heart out. Yet she needed to decide something for Taehyung. She took the phone from the nightstand and messaged something. And suddenly she felt Taehyung's grip. Sleepy Taehyung managed to find her and took her into his embrace. Sleep, kitten. Placed a kiss on her lips before he started patting her back. Definitely she was overwhelmed by this gesture. His eyes were closed. He was too sleepy to open his eyes, yet he was comforting her when she needed him the most. Closing her eyes, she wrapped her arms around his waistline and closed her eyes. Let it never happen again, otherwise, you have to face the consequences. He rubbed his chin on her bare neckline. But she opened her mouth to speak something when she felt his fingers shutting her lips. We can talk later, but now we need to sleep. Both of us, he uttered while gently patting on her shoulder. And she closed her eyes. The next morning, Jungkook confronted Taehyung. Where is your wife, Young? Jungkook's voice was stern, and they thought the magne must be holding the last night's grudge. When is sleeping, Cook? But wait, I have something for you. They spoke in a soft tone. After a few moments, they handed Jungkook the Iron Man figure. Wan had given me this along with her important documents. I didn't know the story behind this figure, but last night she told me to give you this. First, Jungkook gasped. He carefully examined the figure of the toy. He sniffed and it literally smelled like papers kind of stuff. Did she really keep this with her documents? He asked they. It's smelling like that. Maybe. They shrugged his shoulder and went to the kitchen area as he was hungry. After carefully examining the Iron Man figure he was holding, Jungkook also stepped into the kitchen area and stood beside Taehyung. Sensing Jungkook's presence, Taehyung smiled. Wanna have something? I can cook for you if you want. As Taehyung looked at Jungkook, he found a frowning double money. What? They asked. You fought. Did you guys really fight? Tell me, Hyung, did you scold Van because she was arguing with me? Jungkook asked in monotone. His eyes were fixed on Taehyung. No? He exhaled. Don't scare me, Cook. You are hiding something. Tell me what happened. I know you very well, and as much as I know you, it seems you won't let her go just like that as she had argued with me last night. Jungkook spoke in a cold voice. We didn't fight, I just explained her that you were off. They was interrupted by Jungkook. You didn't fight. Okay, I agree, but you scolded her, right? Look, Hyung, I have never lived with her, but as much as I have observed her characteristics, she is not one to give up so quickly. I will ask you for one last time. What happened to Van? Cook, what happened? Yoongi entered into the kitchen area. Why are you raising your voice? Taehyung scolded Van last night. Jungkook replied. It's nothing new to you that you can't guess. Looking at Taehyung, Yoongi shook his head in disbelief. But how did you know? Cause Van messaged me and gave up this Iron Man figure. And Taehyung, Jungkook almost whispered the last portion of the sentence. Where is Fan? Yoongi asked while looking around the kitchen area. Sleeping? Taehyung uttered. Jungkook, call her. You said that she messaged you. Then you must have any thread of communication with her. Yoongi yawned. 여보세요. When managed to answer as the phone was vibrating somewhere in the bed. Mrs. Kim, please get up. Jungkook said. Otherwise, though Jungkook used a threatening tone, but one was too sleepy to identify Jungkook's voice or his tone or what he was saying. They, she replied and started snoring. It's not very early in the morning, it's already 9 o'clock and one never slept until this, especially when we are around. Even last night she was arguing intentionally, but she didn't forget her courtesy. She gave me my favorite ice cream. She even collected the empty ice cream tub from the dining table, which I intentionally put on the table after emptying that. She is your wife and she is sleeping. Otherwise, Jungkook knew his limits. So he stopped. He was worried about her. Come with me, in case you doubt whether I would have put on makeup to cover her bruises. Taehyung grabbed Cook's wrist and almost dragged him towards the study room. But Hyung, did I say that you beat her and she's a married woman and it's inappropriate for me to go into her room when she's sleeping? Jungkook tried to stop Taehyung. One is married, but being her husband, I know in which condition she's sleeping. And more than that, you love her like your baby sister. Who established the theory that her oppa can't wake her up as she's married? They raised his eyebrows playfully before entering into the study room. And Van was still snoring with the phone in her hand. Indeed, there was no bruises on her face or exposed skin, but her cheeks were stained with dry tears. Taehyung, what's this? Jungkook frowned, and now Taehyung found no excuse to avoid the question. Cook, actually, it's something serious. It's all about Van's physical condition, and lowering his tone, Taehyung just started answering him, but Jungkook had no intention in listening him. Van was trying to figure out what was happening, and she realized what she had done last night. No, not the arguing part, but the message. How desperately she had sent Jungkook the voice note. Mrs. Kim Goyangi, you must start living in reality. I'm damn sure you never got the chance to touch my phone, so it decreases the chance of your going through my contact list. And that means you have no idea whether your phone number is saved in my contact list or not. Jungkook gently pinched her cheeks. I don't know what happened between you and Taehyung last night, but remember, he is your husband. And you just simply can't give up. It's your marriage plan. Jungkook, don't you think you need to add more details? I'm struggling to understand the whole matter. The eldest interfered. Oh, in that case, you Queen Goyangi, get up. Yeah, you can access your female quota. Get up. You have 5 minutes. Meet us in the living room. Jungkook patted on her shoulder and walked out of the study room. And your time starts now. Will someone tell me how this muscle bunny turned the angel into devil? I mean, I agree, yesterday she was teasing this bunny, but that doesn't mean you won't let her to complete her beautifully. Sleepy Jimin crawled up on the couch. Jungkook was being bombarded with questions and allegations, but his eyes were fixed on Taehyung. Hyung. It's not about her eyes, it's something else. What are you hiding? What's the matter, Pooh? Have your argument not been resolved yet? Sleepy Namjoon managed to crawl the couch. Last night, as you know, I won the argument and obviously Wen accepted her defeat and went to the bed. But she sent me a voice note very early in the morning in a shaky voice that she has never been existed in my contact list. So I must not have any personal issues with her. She wanted to give the Iron Man figure as well as Tae Hung Hyung. Now tell me what happened last night. Tae Hung Hyung said he didn't scold her yet. When we went to her room while she was sleeping, there was stain of dried tears on her cheeks. Why she would be crying at the darkest hour of night? If nothing had happened between her and Tae Hung Hyung? Jungkook maintained a sharp eye contact with his Tae Hung Hyung and asked. Nothing happened between Tae Hung and me, and the worst part is, Tae Hung is not blaming me or regretting because of that. Being his wife, I just can't see him suffering, and the cause of his suffering is me. 100% only me. When finally spoke, and Jungkook literally flinched as she saw tears rolling down her cheeks. Stop, Van. Tell me, what happened? Oppa will resolve everything. Yeah, only you can resolve this issue. When managed to speak, she sounded tired. For God's sake, Van Tae-hung, stop defending yourself or giving up. Come straight to the point and elaborate. Jungkook almost shouted, but he embraced her. Stop. Don't cry, otherwise I will feed you a full scoop of mint chocolate ice cream. But there is no leftover ice cream in the freezer. When uttered, don't fool me. I felt guilty. After receiving your first note, I have put the toothpaste tube in the freezer. You told me the mint chocolate chip ice cream tastes same as toothpaste. Now tell your Oppa what happened. And looking at your expressions, I know this is something serious. Playfully, Jungkook gently tapped on Van's forehead. Jungkook tried his best to make her comfortable, but he could see hesitation in Van's body language. Jungkook tightened his arms around Van and asked, Tae Hung Hyung, is it related to Van's health? It's serious, but I don't think it's severe, yet it's all about Van. Tae Hung tried to explain, but except Van, no one understood. Jungkook patted on the shoulder of the girl who was calmly being comforted in his embrace. Van, look at me. Van raised her face and focused on his chin. Still didn't dare to look at his eyes. Nay. You have 6 brothers. Do you trust us? Jungkook asked, and Van nodded in reply. It means you have more strength than you can even imagine. Why are you hesitating? Your husband is a gynaec. Yoongi Hyung, Hobi Young are one of the best. I'm also a doc, and you got best of both worlds, but we have our limitations. We can't read your mind, so first you have to tell us about your situation. I'm still studying, but I also belong to the same background, and last night we tried for the very first time, and I think I have vaginismus. I would never be able to compete him, lowering her head when uttered. Wow, dear medical student, I hope you are aware of the fact that it's curable. Start exercising and you will definitely be healthful. Hobby advised. If I start counting, I do the minimum. I mean, least amount of exercising in my daily life to stay fit. I do stretches, deep squats, pelvic floor drops. I have been doing this since my childhood. One replied. Dilators are used to treat pelvic floor dysfunction. Am I right, Young Hyun? The Magne suggested. What if it would be effortless too? Wan spoke in concerned tone and instantly got a Youngi's reply. Botox works. Wan was about to speak something but stopped as she remembered the procedure of Botox treatment. Don't worry, Taehyung will take care of everything. Jungkook was patting on her shoulder when she sensed someone calling him. He turned his face and it was Taehyung. I'm hungry. They almost dragged Cook into the kitchen. Did you tell her? Yeah, Jungkook replied. How much? Taehyung asked and Jungkook chuckled. I didn't tell her that you were one of the best cosmetic gynecologists in Hanguk. I just assured her that you will take care of everything. By the way, I heard your application for research has been approved. Yeah. They nodded while tasting the food Jungkook was preparing for him. Under which university? Jungkook casually asked him the question. I mean, what are your preferences, like universities in Hanguk or in abroad? Guess? They smirked. Is it confirmed? Jungkook asked. No, just assuming based on my probability theory. They smirked. How much Van knows about this? Jungkook asked and they smirked again. She just knows that I was selected and probably she thinks that I am going to abroad. This means Jungkook gasped. I still need to be assured I didn't receive the confirmation mail yet. They grinned. Young, do you really love Van or you are forcing yourself? I mean, you are hiding so many things. That's why. She's a little annoying, but overall, she would be the best for you. Jungkook asked out of his curiosity. Honestly, I had a soft corner for her. There was something between me and her that sparked. Obviously, living with a person under one roof for days after days is different. When I got the chance to experience a new side of her, most of the time I found her cute. Even yesterday, when she was intentionally arguing with you, I explored the nervous side of her. The last part of these words made Cook frown. You mean to say you knew that she was arguing with me intentionally? Jungkook gave the I'm so done with you look. She was terrified and she didn't want anyone pity her. Taehyung shrugged his shoulders. You were blushing, Hyung. Now go and surprise her with the exciting news. You should make it even. Make it one all. The magne demanded and they nodded. They silently stood beside her and whispered in her ears. When? And she was frozen at a spot. Of course, she was startled at first, but after a fraction of a second, when she realized that the Bangtan boys were chilling in the living room and sensed they rubbing his not shaved chin on her neck, she lowered her head and closed her eyes in embarrassment. What? She whispered in almost inaudible tone. I need to submit a few documents. Help me to find them. They placed his chin on her shoulder. Please. Okay. Wen stammered and headed towards their bedroom, and they followed her. What are you doing? Everyone is in the living room and Wen looked at Tae who was locking the bedroom door. They will be living with us for next few days, so get used to with it. Tae's hot breath was fanning her neckline. I never faced any problem when stammered. But now, get used to with some bedroom romance with me. He started kissing her lips. From tonight, the dilated section going to be started.
so be ready for that. They intentionally dependent. You have your dilators, right? No? One shook her head and they chuckled. I will order one for you then. One was some kind of surprised as Taehyung didn't actually seem worried. Might be because he had Yoongi and Hobi by his side. But she was. They? She hummed. Will the procedure going to be painful? What? Finally, they broke the and looked at her. Look at me. He warned her as she tried to avoid eye contact with him. You must know everything you want to, so don't escape, don't avoid, and ask me. Dilators, will it be painful? She asked, and looking at her eyes, they knew what she actually wanted to know.
Look, dilators should feel snug or maybe little discomfort without causing any pain. Lying on her lap, they answered. And how quickly would I will get the result from this therapy? When asked while softly combing his hair with her fingers. It depends on many factors. It varies from patient to patient. With gradual use and progression of size, patients start to see results in many weeks, maybe a month. They answered casually. A month? One gasped. It means I have to attend all the sessions alone? Please now don't say that I have to do that all alone. They chuckled. And what do you think? Will I leave you alone in this condition? But you have resigned and your application has been approved, so. Well, looked at him with confusion. They gently held the back of her neck and playfully pecked on her lips. Oh, I'm going to join SNU as a research fellow. I came here to inform you that. They was looking at her. He wanted to see her expressions, her surprised yet happy expressions, but she frowned. Don't tell me that the Bangtan boys already knows this news. Am I the last one? No, you are not the last one, but definitely not the first one. They lowered his tone as he knew his kitten wife's tiger mode was about to get activated. He thought she's gonna cry or complain, but to his surprise, Van wrapped her arms around his torso and started kissing him quite aggressively. They could feel she was sad and mad at him. She was nibbling his but not so gently. They could sense that Van was aware of what she was doing. This time, he let her do what she was doing. He stood still while accepting his punishment, yet didn't lose a single chance to calm her down by kissing her soft pair of lips. Van was finally calmed down and broke them. Don't ever dare to put me last in the future, hubby. They tightened his arms around her waist and chuckled. You and Bangtan boys, you are important yet different from each other. I have never compared between you. His lips were swollen. He was continuously licking his lips. When frowned. This time, you just experienced the bite. But next time, you will get bruises. I hope there will be no next time. My tiger cat. When calmly threatened him.
I swear when Jack was cooking for me when I received the email and coincidentally we were talking about your treatment and my schedule and I showed him the email. They tried to justify himself and Van smirked. I am not complaining about that, but what will you answer when your youngs will ask you about your swollen lips? No one is in the house except Jungkook, and if he asks me anything, I will say that you bite me. And then they raised his eyebrows. Babe, it's too easy to make him feel jealous. Don't supply the fuel. He will be hurt. Wen smirked and headed towards the living room, and they followed her. Though they thought he would be unnoticed by Jungkook and casually walked into the kitchen area, but the first thing Cook noticed was his swollen lips. Maybe they argued, and the youngest was looking at him with eyes full of questions. So, when are we going to fetch the dilator set? After the lunch, they answered, but Cook's fixed eyes on him made him a little uncomfortable, and one laughed. Sitting on the couch, she just kept laughing, and in no time the Bangtan boys asked her in unison, "What?" Giving her "I'm so done with you" look. They, Jankagoppa, I have marked him as mine. One wanted to make him jealous, but she averted her eyes because to her it seemed like a confession. As they realized that he was caught, he couldn't look up. Obviously, he was blushing. "You must thank God, Jankagoppa," one spoke in a teasing voice, and that made him raise his eyebrows. "Why?" "I had this dysfunction, otherwise, you would be the babysitter in charge of our little cubs." One's words made Taehyung to blush more. "Cubs? I mean, are you joking, Kim Goyangi? I mean, definitely my Hyung is a tiger, but you are a cat. And you will create team up tiger, not tiger." Jungkook noticed how Taehyung couldn't stop blushing when unintentionally talked about their future babies. Yet, the thoughtful Maknae also realized how Wen was struggling to adjust with her physical condition. Jungkook noticed Wen was looking at the floor. He wanted to make her look at him, so he made her look at him, but real forcefully. He held her jaw. "Don't ever try to make fun of my sister's medical condition. Just because it's not as casual as fever or bloating, I am giving you a friendly reminder, Kim Goyangi. I am not interested in your sense of humor. So, don't be sarcastic about my sister's condition." Her eyes twinkled, and she knew she would not be able to hold her tears for longer. And soon she was embraced. "Don't worry. My Taehyung is one of the best in Hanguk." Jungkook kept patting on her shoulder as he could feel his shirt was getting stained in Wan's tears.